Okay, so welcome to chapter 6. Don't forget you can use this slideshow just to conveniently go through things. As you can see, I haven't even added the chapter 6 video yet, but here's what we're going to be looking at today. Getting a character pointing in the correct direction as it moves, animating costumes, adding a level 2 with a randomly moving enemy and timer. So, I've just made some changes to the existing sample that we've been working with recently. One of those is pretending that I started my program with an airplane as the character to move around. Now when you look at the airplane costumes, of course being an airplane there's nothing to animate on that. What you could do is create an animation by duplicating this costume and adding a little sort of like puff of smoke out of the engines in some way. That might be a possibility, so I could use the brush and just animate a little bit of grey coming out of the engines, so like that on one of the costumes, and then jump between those two things, try and make it not look like a fire. However, what say I decided don't like this character at all. I don't want to recreate all my code that I've done here, but I do want to choose a new character, so I'm just going to quickly take you through that. So going back to our police dog story again, I'm going to revert back to that. So I'm just going to go and get that police dog character very quickly. There he is. He suits me because he's got some pre-built costumes already. And I want to move the program coding from the airplane to the dog. So very simply just pick it up and pop it on the dog. That's one done. Second one done. Before you delete the other character, check. You can see now that those two bits of programming have just dropped on top of each other, so I'll just move them apart. And yes, looking good. So now we're just going to jump on a bit. First of all, I'm going to put the plane character that I no longer need. And I've just done a little bit of preparation ahead to move us on for animation of the costumes. So here you can see the three existing ones that we had prior to me just making some alterations, where we were just using the left arrow and changing the X and the Y. And now we've got a slightly different arrangement for the key. This is so that when if we are going to press the right key arrow, then we'll switch the costume to dog 2. So that will move from this costume here, which it starts off with, to that one. And then go to the next costume. We'll wait a little bit more of a second and I'll repeat round inside there so that we just get a bit of a swap every time with a movement with a slight delay in between. So this part of the program here will need to be repeated for each of these key arrows to get the animation working. But we'll just show you how the animation works at this point in time before I show you one other piece of coding that we've done to make the animation work well. So if I go to full screen to make it easy, press the green flag. You see when the right arrow is pressed now, he's animated through. If I let go, he stops. It actually goes into the third costume there, and I'll show you how that was done in just a moment. But of course, the previous movement looked like that. We're going to press back to our code area, press the stop. Okay, so this is how this area here has been changed. Okay, so this is how this area here has been handled for the right key, and we want to replicate that over the other keys. Again, probably the quickest way to do this is I'm just going to quickly throw all of these ones away. I'll just park them temporarily over here because I could use some of these things here. And I'm just going to duplicate that section there. Change that to left arrow. Change the X by -2. Just keeping the section here to remind me what I had before. Control click, duplicate, whip in there, slide down. Don't want that one. It was changing. This is going to be the down arrow. So I'm looking at the down arrow, so I can just drop that one in there. And my last duplication. Slide down the thing again. This one will have to be the up arrow. So we're going to be changing the Y once more, but we will be making it up to. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to throw that away now. No longer need it. Just doing a quick scan of the code to do a quick check. Right, left, down, up, and do a quick test of that before I'm moving on. Green flag's clicked. Away we go. I want to go up there. Animation is still working. Right arrow, backwards, down arrow. Haven't got his direction sorted yet, but it's looking a lot better than what it was. Okay, so you will have noticed as you watch that code that every time he stopped, he went on to this costume here. How was that done? So, conveniently prepared beforehand, cooked in the oven as it were, is this code over here. Now this is this piece of coding is handling the state when the dog is not got any key arrows being pressed down for him. So you can see the statement here, forever, if not, right arrow key pressed, if not, left arrow key, if not, down arrow, if not that, then switch to this costume. Simple as that. How was this constructed? I'll just go over that very briefly. Usual story that you're now familiar with. Our if statement. And here's the crucial part. Operators, inside operators, inside operators. So you can see that this is an or statement. We do want and because we don't have to do right arrow and the left arrow key. It's an or statement, so it means any one of these happens. It will work. So what you have to do is gradually stack up inside one of these and just keep stacking until you've got enough. Alright, and once you've got your 4 areas that you can put your key presses into, then you just need to go and rebuild the key presses as illustrated here. I'll just throw that away. So that's our key press one there. Just scan across again one more time for you to have a quick look at. So now we're going to get our dog pointing in the right direction. This is done very simply by moving to the motion category. And in the motion category we have point in a direction. So if we drop this into the program for the right arrow key, he should be pointing when he's on the right arrow direction key in the direction of 90 degrees. When you click here on the triangle, you can see conveniently directions lifted for you for those main categories of right, left, up and down. So now we're going to point in the direction for this one, the opposite, which will be left, and sliding down we're just going to drop in the other ones very quickly. This is the making sure, checking I've got the down arrow, so going with the down, and lastly the up arrow with the up. Now we'll just test our program, press the green arrow. There will be a bug in this. Okay, stops, oops, he's flipped upside down. So this is understanding the way the sprites behave. There's 2 different types of behavior. If you click on the eye here, you can see that there's 2 types of rotation styles. And so when you're asking the dog to point in a direction, he can either rotate to point in that direction or flip side to side in that direction. So now we've just quickly added ahead for you the rotation styles within the program now. And that includes just a quick one to remind you that you will need to set a point in the direction at the beginning of your game as well. So down here you can see for the right arrow key, that has been set to rotate left to right, so to flip from left to right, and the same for the matching left arrow key, left to right. But when he goes to go down, the rotation style has been set to all around, and when he goes up, the rotation style is all around. So we quickly test our program, press the green arrow, go there, go up, he points up and walks up, left, right, down, right, all working as expected. So at this point I've assembled the code for the bat creature that I want flying around the stage. Obviously I could also duplicate this whole bat and its entire program and have two enemies moving along the stage. So over here you can see the page. Nothing particularly new in what we've done other than grabbing from the control section the if and else statement. So if I'm touching the edge, then what do? Well, if I'm on the edge, I want to bounce away from the edge and I want to point in a direction, in which case then we used for the first time a random operator. And so this allows you to pick numbers. The computer program Scratch picks a random number to generate between 1 and 360, and that should handle, within a few seconds, it being able to bounce off the edge. Sometimes you might actually stay on the edge and bounce twice because you might go in the same direction, but other than that, this is just the same movement as we had on our dog program. So again, you could duplicate, drag and drop and put it onto your bat. So let's just have a wee look at how that operates. Because I'm just wanting to test this part of the program, rather than play the game and get through the maze, I'm just going to double click on the start command at the top here, and just to see that it is working. So you can see that I've got that bat moving, he's moving around the maze, and now I've just got to sense that if he touches the dog, he takes a life off the dog as well. Okay, so happy with that so far. I'm going to work on a timer after we've got the dog going. So first of all, let's just get into the dog. So we lose lives over here already if touching the colour, then doing this. I'm just going to move this part of the program down a wee bit. Don't forget you can always minus out so you can see more of your program and zoom in. And so what I'm going to do is put the other sensing in this area here for level 2. And so I won't need to worry about this program working because I'll have the bat hidden at the beginning of the game. So we will make sure he hides and he shows himself. Let's get the show done now actually while we're thinking about it. So show and hide. So he'll be hidden at the beginning of the game but show himself at this point when he gets level 2. Just quickly twist that by pressing the green flag. Yep, all good. Okay, so back to the dog again, and we're just going to pop in some code to help there. It's pretty similar to this code here, except we don't want him to go back to the beginning. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that section. Oops, got a whole lot more than what I need. Just throw those ones away and throw that in underneath in there. It won't be if I'm touching the color, so I'm going to throw that away and go back to sensing. But if I'm touching a particular character, and that is the bat, I'm not wanting him to change position, just actually lose a life. And then that second will give us a chance to escape from the bat, from the direction it's taking, and not keep counting down the lives. So that, in its forever loop, should about see us. So again, what I'm going to do is just whop onto the bat when I receive level 2, start that up. I'm going to position my dog in a way that we get near that bat. Press stop, press green flag. go to here, receive level 2. Let's put the dog in the road. Yep, counted down a life, counted down 2 lives because I left him there long enough. And if I put him in front again over here, we should get down to game over. There we go. Okay, so done a bit of testing of that part of the program. Obviously it would be good to play it from beginning to end just to check that nothing else happens, but so far so good. And that's how you get enemies to move across. So the last thing we've got to do is program the success for the donut. So when the dog reaches the donut, he says that. Probably want a wee wait in between there. Wait for 1 second, give us time to read 2 seconds, give us time to read that sign, and then broadcast level 2. So now we've just quickly built a timer routine. You can see that over here in the top right hand corner. And when the green flag is clicked, we don't want the timer to be there. You can see it here on the screen right now. But when we receive level 2, we want that timer to show itself. So in the data category, we've built a timer and then added in the broadcast receive for level 2, show the timer, set the timer. Now right now it's set to 5. Obviously I'd have to think, what is a suitable time to allow for people? So test the maze a few times, get some user feedback and decide. Obviously 5 seconds is not enough time, but for the purposes of testing the timer, it's better to wait 5 seconds rather than a minute. And here we have our forever loop. Inside there a green operator, so when the timer, drag the timer out, drop it in the operator. So when the timer equals 0, we're going to broadcast game over. So that means our game over sign will appear again, and we're stopping that script. And otherwise, so this is an if or else statement. So if the timer equals 0, do this, but else, otherwise, change the time by -1 and wait 1 second in between, so it'll keep counting down. So if I press the green flag to start, which resets the state of our game, what I've done here is I've just dropped temporarily this little broadcast level 2, so we can just do a quick cheat to get through to level 2 and broadcast that. And so now you can see the bat's doing it, counts down to 0 because it didn't get enough time, and game over. So that's how you build a timer into it. So now it's just a case of setting your timer to a time that actually is going to make sense within the gameplay that you've got. Have a look at other options in terms of mazes that you've got for level 3 possibly. You might change the maze, you might have more enemies come through, you might change the amount of time that a person has, and so it's just a case of building up other options around this particular program. All the best with your amazing maze.